Shillings have just won $50,000, everyone. I'll see you next time in the Millionaire Hot Seat. Good night.
Tonight, Norman Gardens on alert as raging bushfires continue to threaten Rockhampton. Fatigued firefighters praised for their tireless efforts. And George Dobson finally laid to rest. Good evening, welcome to Win News. I'm Paul Taylor.
And I'm Samantha Heathwood. Later in the bulletin, colourful crowds for one of racing's biggest days.
Fires continue to rage out of control in Rockhampton tonight, with residents in Norman Gardens and Frenchville on alert. The biggest bushfires now travelling west directly into the path of unburnt suburban bushland.
It was a horror weekend for our region's firefighters, with the worst bushfires Rockhampton has ever seen. Hundreds of homes were under threat when the Mount Archer blaze flared out of control late Saturday.
And Peter Byrne will have the latest on the weather forecast coming up later in the bulletin. Now, with flames just centimetres away from some properties, an army of firefighters and volunteers is being praised for their tireless efforts in saving countless homes.
Statistics show Queenslanders are among the country's worst prepared during bushfire season. Only half the state has a fire escape plan, and 70% of homes are without a fire extinguisher.
George Dobson's long journey home finally ended on Saturday. The Rockhampton man, who became a quadriplegic after falling while in India, was farewelled at a private funeral service at St Mary's Catholic Church after Singapore Airlines and Mondial Assistance delivered on their promise to bring his body home from India. The Dobson family says they're eternally grateful to the community for their assistance and support. A website appeal for the father of four raised nearly $70,000 in donations from around the world. The remaining funds will be donated to charity.
Central Queensland landowners have called on the state government to develop a structured plan for mining takeover bids. Residents in the Orion community are concerned their farming land will soon become a booming coal mine region. Coming up after the break, Great Keppel Island sees visitors of a different kind.
And we take a look at all the frogs and fascinators from the weekend racing.
On 9 News, history lost as a classic hotel goes up in flames. Rockhampton fire victims count the cost, and shock revelations on Centrelink payments to asylum seekers.
Thanks, Andrew. Welcome back to Win News. More than 100 protesters turned out on the weekend to rally against the proposed Great Keppel Islands development. Banners and flags coloured the island's lookouts and beaches for the Voice Your Voice rally, as protesters made clear their concerns over Tower Holdings' planned use of public access land. Organisers of the event say they support renovations on the existing resort site, but they're concerned the damage of large-scale development could do to the environment. Another rally is being organised to be held on the mainland in the coming months.
Regional Australians may soon face further trouble accessing water, with the federal government announcing a clampdown on a major source. The Parliamentary Secretary for Water says the management of the nation's aquifers is due for a major overhaul.
Now, if you watch, an average prices fell over the weekend to $1.25.4. LPG could be found for 73.7 cents per litre.
Rockhampton's Caulfield Cup celebration saw a 5,000-strong crowd at the weekend. Racegoers were seemingly not at all deterred by a smoky atmosphere.
Coming up in sport, another draw for the Fury Pool.
That's right, Sam, and CQ falter as the Far North take first points in the cricket.
Tonight's Sports Report, brought to you by Ford. Of course.
Welcome back. Central Queensland have suffered a first-round defeat in the North Queensland Cricket Championships, going down to tropical Far North. An outstanding all-round performance from Matthew Burton, getting his team across the line. That's a lot in sport, and Robbie Fowler, the saviour again for the North Queensland
They
Furies.
just can't get there, can they?
No.
After the break, the Fire Days details for the week ahead. And our weatherman, Peter Byrne, has the latest.
Sydney weather watchers, well, what can I say? Accolades and straight A's to all the emergency services personnel who have worked tirelessly over the past several days, battling those nasty local bushfires. They're absolute brickbats to the buffheads out there who throw cigarette butts out of the car window, especially during this critical period. Now remember the current operation of noting the car registration numbers of culprits, okay? Those people who flick the lit cigarette out the window. Bingo. Now our Tourism Queensland photograph this evening highlights Bushy Island. Isn't that magnificent? That's about 70 kilometres east of Mackay. Now apparently there's no vegetated Ks, in other words there's the vegetation there, between Bushy Island and Green Island off Cairns. That's for about 600 kilometres along the reef. Unusual, isn't it? Rainfall, the lightest in the state. What's new? St Lawrence 4 millimetres, Milton 4. Would you believe there's a little place called Mount Halifax just north of Ingham? They scored a thunderstorm overnight last night. Guess what? 162 millimetres of rain. That's just what Rocky wants, doesn't it? But you're not going to get it, unfortunately. Let's have a look at temperatures. Slightly cooler temperatures, which is good news. Increased humidity. The winds won't get any stronger, so I think we've reached the maximum as far as the fire danger rating goes for the short term. But Billawheeler today 11 to 29, Gladstone 17 to 29, Blackwater 17 to 30, and Emerald today 15 to 31. Currently in Rockhampton the temperature's 22. Look at the humidity, good to see, isn't it? 58% instead of about 8%. The satellite picture of Queensland. This doesn't show the fair weather cumulus field, coast to adjacent inland. Good rain through the Cairns area today, 20 millimetres in the city. How's that for a vigorous front through Perth longitudes? Guess what? It weakens out considerably as it heads east. Let's have a closer look at Queensland. You can see that fair weather cumulus cloud, coast to ranges. There were a few showers there southwest of Gladstone. They were purely heat-induced, so they should have dissipated now. Onto the chart, the high off the New South Wales coast will dominate for the rest of the week. Southeast and northeast airflow. No sign of any rain. Continuing fine indefinitely, okay? Now the forecast for Capricornia, fine, fine, fine. Fine also for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Central Highlands, same old boring story. Fine, fine, fine. Cool and comfortable overnight, Emerald down to 14. The fire danger rating, remember it's still very high. It may nudge back into high over the next couple of days, but please exercise caution. No cigarette butts out the window, please. Maritime observations this afternoon. Middle Percy Island, east-southeast at 20 knots, Gladstone east at 12. Coastal waters, St Lance through to Burnett Head, southeast to east 15 to 20, 20 to 25 near St Lawrence. Now for Wednesday, southeast to east 15 to 20, afternoon northeast sea breezes inshore. A quick look at tidal information for Port Alma tomorrow Tuesday, followed by sunrise and sunset for Rockhampton. And the wrap-up there, the summary, fine indefinitely, very high fire danger. That's it for the weather. Now it's back to Paul and Sam.
Thank you, Pete.
Our news headlines can be found on our website, wintv.com.au. From all the team, good night.
Good night.
How